G'day ladies and gents, Cubic Meter here. Recently there have been a lot of innovations in the storage tech community. So in this video, I wanted to go ahead and take a look at Minecraft's greatest storage technologies. Let's begin by starting simple. The basic idea of this contraption is that I have a chest monster of assorted shulker boxes, all with randomly mixed items like so. However, amongst this mess, I want to find all of my cobblestone. We will begin by dropping down into the guts of the machine and sticking a single piece of cobblestone into each one of these hopper minecarts. Now, what this is essentially a filtered hopper cart system that can unload boxes at a lightning fast pace. Returning up to the top, all I need to do is hit this button. And now we start sorting through our shulker boxes. When we find a shulker box with cobblestone in it, we drain all the cobblestone and drop it directly into a water stream. All of our cobblestone will then arrive right here in front of the shulker box display, where we can simply pop it into here and obtain full boxes of cobblestone. Right there you can see the spent boxes returning back into the storage. And the way that this buffer storage works is that every time we hit this button, it switches sides. So all the boxes that were in here are now switching over to here, except these boxes now have all of their cobblestone removed. There we go. The ding indicates that our sorting operation is finished. We can now collect all of our cobblestone. Go ahead and unassign these filters. Consolidate our cobblestone supply. Hit this note block to eject a partially filled box. And there we go. We have now extracted all of the cobblestone out of this mess into these two boxes. If we have a look underneath, what we essentially have here is a 32 times hopper speed shulker box unloader, which means we can unload about 3 full shulker boxes per minute using this machine. Now I have in fact demonstrated this machine previously on how dolphins can improve your storage system. In fact, I made a full build tutorial for this particular machine over there, so be sure to check that out. The only difference here is that I've added these hopper minecart filters which allow us to target specific items. You can even put different items in these 4 hopper minecarts in order to sort multiple items simultaneously. This is the most basic version. Over here, we have essentially the same concept of unloading boxes into a water stream, except I've added an automated mechanism for assigning the item filters and also unassigning them. So if I go up to the top here and throw in 4 cobblestone, it will automatically split those 4 items to our 4 hopper minecarts. There we go. I can now take a full box of cobblestone, throw it into the input right here, and then we can watch the magic unfold. Now look at how fast that is. That is absolutely crazy. This thing drains a full shulker box in just over 20 seconds. So here we get our empty shulker box back. And if we have a look at the filters, we still have 1 item in each filter. Now I do need to point out one tiny weakness with this design. If I take a shulker box with 16 items and chuck it in like so, we can see we are left with 1 item in each one of these hopper minecarts. However, if I take a shulker box with any less than 16 items in it and input it, we've got 1, 1, 1, and 4. The filter's threshold does not activate until it gets to 5 items. This is because these item filters are so fast that we have to give it some buffer to prevent the item from being sucked out. The reason why this is a problem is because, say for example, we have this automated system for unassigning the filters. So all we do is tell the system to suck out that single item that is remaining in the hopper minecart, like so. However, if we cannot guarantee that there is only a single item remaining in this hopper minecart, unfortunately, this system is fundamentally flawed. This is why I opted for the manual assigning and unassigning for the demonstration. Simply because the automated system cannot handle every single edge case. And so, there's going to be some instances where you have items left behind in these filters, and the player is going to have to go in and unassign them manually anyway. This is slightly a shame, because the ultimate application of this design would be in something like this, where we replace the water stream unloading into actual shulker box loaders. So what we can do here is actually assign a different item to each one of these hopper cart filters, then that item will flow down into its own dedicated shulker box loader. So with this machine, you can essentially take a single shulker box of mixed items and split up to 4 separate items into their own shulker boxes. But unfortunately, using the machine this way, if the very last shulker box to be unloaded by the system has less than 5 of a particular item in it, it's not going to activate the filter and it's going to leave behind items in the filters. That said, I still think this is a very powerful sorting concept, and I think it's pretty useful if you just want a bare minimum system to help you organize your items. Alright, with that out of the way, let's go and have a look at some actual storages. This right here is the Dolphin Storage 2.0. You might recall that in my previous dolphin sorting video, I introduced this basic storage layout with an item layout that uses dolphins to infinitely recycle the items. But this is a brand new design using the dolphin recirculation system installed with a brand new chest haul design by Kikuji. The idea of a chest haul like this is to get your items in as compact of a space as possible, whilst allowing some versatility in the way that you can assign the items. Like, as you can see, to expand the storage capacity for more common items like stone, I've simply assigned more chests and item filters to that item. This is one advantage of the brute force parallelization that you get from simply recycling the items until they're no longer getting sorted by the item filters. Because if you want to improve the sorting speed for a particular item, all you need to do is simply add more filters for that item and it will sort that item faster. So what do you say we take this bad boy for a spin? Over here we have our interface. This chest minecart is the new 1.19 cart yeeting mechanic, and what you do here is any loose items you have in your inventory which are not shulker boxes, you can stick into here and then hit the button, and then the items will be instantly dumped into a water stream like so. We've also got this double chest for which you can put shulker boxes of random items, and then they will be sent over here to a cart yeeting shulker box unloader, which unloads the boxes at lightning fast speeds. Then it will begin yeeting the carts into the water stream. There we go. We start dumping the items into the water stream, and now these enter the circulation stream where the items have their despawn timers continuously reset by our dolphin. The way that our circulation system works is that whenever an item filter detects any activity, we send signals through these observers all the way to this centralized position where we continuously activate this cooldown clock, which primarily keeps all the hoppers unlocked but also keeps all of our items recirculating back through the system. So essentially, as long as there are items matching the filters that we have assigned in our storage, it will continue circulating those items until they are all sorted, and then the remaining items will get dumped into an overflow. There we go. We've now finished sorting all the items that have filters, and now the overflow has been activated, and now all the remaining items are heading over to this buffer system, where the items will get circulated once again, picked up by these hoppers, and then unstackables will get separated by this system right here, so that our stackable items go inside of this buffer where they head off to a multi-item sorter, like so. The unstackables will then head over to this system right here. So in here we've got our empty shulker boxes, as well as any unstackables. If the multi-item sorter were to overflow, those items would end up in these chests right here. I'd like to give a special thanks as this particular design that I'm showcasing was decorated by the one and only MrMaxMondays. Max actually makes some really epic videos about decorating some of WaveTech's most technical Minecraft builds, so be sure to check his channel out if you like that kind of content. As for the dolphin sorting concept, it can essentially be applied to any sorting system that uses item filters. Here I've just got a simple item layout for the demonstration, but you can really assign any item layout that you wish. All you need to do is go to the chest for that item, and behind it will be an item filter corresponding to that chest. To assign your own item layout with the filters, what I would suggest you do is go into Creative and create sets of hoppers like this with the filter items all set up. Then you can take a schematic in single player, save that schematic, then line up those hoppers with the hoppers that you want to have as your filters. Then, if you simply look at the hopper in the schematic and hold down the I key, you can see what items are supposed to be in that hopper and use that as a guide for assigning your filters. So sorting items using dolphins is perhaps one of the simplest and fastest ways for you to sort items. However, this type of chest sort does come with some limitations as well. For example, it's not very flexible, as each one of these chests has a fixed assignment where it can only accept a single item type, meaning with this chest haul with 10 chests per slice and 32 slices, you can store up to 320 different item types. However, if you look at all the items in Minecraft, there are over 800 different item types in Minecraft in total. So unfortunately, if you're wanting to sort every item in the game, this chest haul is extremely limited. You can of course extend the chest haul, but one issue is that the longer that you make these water streams, then the longer it takes for an item to get recycled and make its way back to the same item filter, effectively slowing down your sorting speeds. So despite being so stupidly simple and fast, the dolphin-based brute force method of item sorting does have its limitations. On the other end of the spectrum, we have the multi-item sorter. This particular design was put together by Unnerving and Dat Nerd. And the reason why I'd say it's on the other end of the spectrum to the dolphin-based item sorter is that it offers maximum flexibility in allowing multiple item types to be assigned to the same storage. However, when you actually go and input items, it can only sort those items at single hopper speed. So essentially the trade-off that you get with a multi-item sorter is maximum flexibility, being able to store every single item in the game within a relatively compact system. However, that multi-item sorting happens at a ridiculously slow speed in comparison to our brute force dolphin sorting method. So essentially, the ultimate storage system will be capable of combining the strengths of both of these concepts. Here we have an extremely good attempt at doing this. This is a fully functional storage design by Gangles. It combines the flexibility of multi-item sorters with the box storage of shulker boxes. It's also got heaps of other features like this unstackable sorter, as well as other systems like empty shulker box storage, overflow handling for items that aren't being sorted. This is essentially a miniature main storage. However, when I take a closer look at how the storage works, I do have a few minor issues with it. First of all, when I look at these shulker boxes, I notice that they're all partially filled with items. If I look in the storage for the shulker boxes, none of these shulker boxes are full. I discovered that the reason for this is that Gangles decided to make a compromise where if you input a mixed shulker box containing various items, all the system does is simply unload those items and put them in their own dedicated boxes. However, it doesn't actually merge the boxes together, and so all you get is whatever items were in a particular box. While I do think this is a really great storage design, and many players may not actually mind this particular compromise, as it makes sure that all the items input into the sorting system are made accessible. So it is a pretty sound compromise to make, but unfortunately I just can't tolerate a system that doesn't present full boxes to me. So what I decided to do was take the advantages of the Dolphin based sorting, slap it into Gangles Grand multi-item sorter to produce a new modified version of his storage with slightly faster sorting capabilities. From the inside, everything looks roughly the same as Gangles' original design. At the end of the hall, we have this chest which accepts shulker boxes full of items, or we can stick loose items inside of this shulker box. If we go ahead and start the system, once again we have the cart yeeting shulker box unloader, which takes out all of our items, and then it will dump those items into a water stream where they get recycled by our good friend the Dolphin. Here we go, our items are coming in, the Dolphin's picking them up and then shooting them off into our water stream. So this has essentially taken the concept from the Dolphin based sorting over there and applied it to shulker box loading. These full shulker boxes are then presented to the player inside of the storage like so. And as usual, we monitor item filter activity, and while there are item filters that are active, we keep this cooldown clock active and we keep the items recycled. There we go, the system switched off and our cooldown clock is now in the process of resetting. So very soon our items, which haven't been assigned item filters to be loaded into boxes, are going to go into the second stage of the multi-item sorter. There we go, that's our overflow opened, and the remaining items all flow into this system which is provided to me by Gangles, which loads the items into mixed shulker boxes, which you can find right in here. There we go. So looking inside these shulker boxes, you can see these are all the items that weren't given item filters to be loaded into full boxes for our box displays. Alright, here come our mixed shulker boxes. They go up here through this loop and place down in this shulker box unloader, where we begin the multi-item sorting. This is simply Dat Nerd's categorical multi-item sorter, where we have these chests providing categories for items, where if any item matches any of these categories, they will get sorted into that category. So we make yet another trade-off. We have 54 items with fixed assignments for sorting being loaded into full shulker boxes, which get presented to the player inside of the storage. We also get the flexibility of multi-item sorters sorting all of our items into various categories that we don't have space to put into shulker boxes. However, of course, there are going to be some items which remain inaccessible until these shulker boxes are completely filled up. So to set things straight, this modification of Gangles Grand multi-item sorter is simply an alternative with its own trade-offs and compromises. With Gangles' original design, you get slightly slower item sorting, however, you get access to those items at any time. In my modification of the design, you get faster item sorting, and then full shulker boxes of those items coming out of the box loading array. However, you have to deal with the fact that there are always going to be some items left behind in those shulker boxes until they are completely filled up. And this is mostly what storage tech is about, making compromises over what features you desire. To go any bigger than this, and you would essentially be going with a main storage complex like this one I built for how to build the ultimate storage. In this video, I already covered the essentials for building a main storage system. However, the storage itself is rather obsolete. In fact, on the Wavetech server, we have already begun construction of a brand new design for Wavetech's ultimate main storage. However, it'll probably be another week until this is finished in survival, and I'll be able to make the video covering the storage in detail. In the meantime, let's go over parallel entity item sorting. In a previous video, I introduced this, the 8-game-tick encoded multi-item sorter. And I want to be clear, this is a dead concept. It is extremely hard to set up all of these items in these chests, and when it breaks catastrophically. And to top it all off, this right here is a parallel entity item sorter using a set-based concept devised by Boyenn and receiving contributions from several members of the storage tech community to make what is essentially the ultimate parallel entity item sorting solution. I'm sure Boyenn, in his video on the subject, can explain it in a lot more detail. The basic premise is, say that I have some shulker boxes that I want to sort, like so. Boyenn's design will take the first item out of each one of these shulker boxes and then put these items into a set. Those shulker boxes will then proceed to a shulker box unloading array, which will remove all contents of that particular item from each shulker box. If another shulker box comes along with an item that is already in the set, that shulker box will get rejected and go to a buffer and await for this shulker box to finish unloading its item, and then the new shulker box will be able to start unloading its items. It is an extremely simple and extremely clever way to ensure that you're always only unloading one instance of an item at a time, which is the ultimate goal of any parallel entity item sorting system. And through the collaboration of many members of the storage tech community, they have made this compact integrated design with all the circuits and features needed to make the ultimate parallel entity item sorter. So if you wanted to take any storage system and upgrade it to sort items in parallel as efficiently as possible, such that you avoid simply brute forcing everything with dolphins like I do with my previous storage designs, this is the solution that you should go with. On Wavetech's new main storage, we are not using this design, however. This is because my only problem with Boyenn's set-based parallel entity item sorter is that it cannot handle situations where you might want to unload 2 instances of an item at a time. The only reason that I want this capability is because Wavetech's new main storage has the capability to load items into shulker boxes at 2 times hopper speed. And so, I want the parallel entity item sorter for Wavetech's new main storage to match the capability of the box loaders. Because of this, I decided to take Boyenn's design and modify it to the capabilities that I want. This right here is essentially a hybrid of Boyenn's parallel entity item sorter and the encoded multi-item sorter. Instead of having an initially empty set that we populate with items like in Boyenn's design, instead we begin with an existing set where we can assign the sorting speed of each item based on the amount of that item inside of the set. So this is essentially an exact inverse of Boyenn's parallel entity item sorter. And unfortunately, the trade-off for these new capabilities means that the design is slightly larger. It's more complicated as it uses these hopper minecarts on piston bolts in order to cross-reference the item set. And of course, you also need to obtain the items to put in the set, and as a result, it's less flexible, only being able to unload and sort items that you put into the set. In contrast, Boyenn's design will sort any item that you put into it no matter what. However, this gives me the capabilities that I want, and so it works for my storage design. But just because it works for me does not mean it will work for everyone. So always make sure you keep an open mind and don't just go with the technology that's fed to you. Shop around and find the storage tech that you need for the storage that you want. Anyway, that is everything that I wanted to cover in this video. Thank you all very much for watching. Now Wavetech's new main storage should be ready in about a week or two, so be sure to subscribe to be notified of when I post a video about this new system. And maybe you'll be able to see some of the storage tech in action. For now, I've got a lot more content to work on, and a lot of storage to build. So I'll see you next time.